everybody, what's going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So, back to Snake Eye, but this is going to be a different variant of Snake Eye. I wanted to check out the Kashtira Snake Eye variant, especially now that we are post-Bonfire, now that we do have this card in Master Duel. It's funny, I was actually testing the Kashtira Snake Eye variant before Bonfire got announced that it was coming out. But then once Bonfire hit, I decided to go back to the Synchro build, right? Because I had more references for that style of deck with Bonfire in it, as opposed to this style of deck with Bonfire in it. So the main difference here, of course, besides from the fact that we are playing a small Kashtira package of 1 Thin Rare, 2 Unicorn, this is a little bit in anticipation of the new ban list as well, that is yet to come out, but will be in relatively short order. On top of that, we have 1 Wraitsoth and then 1 copy of Birth as well. I think even when this does go up to 2, this variant will definitely still only play the 1 copy. Most notably, we're not on Jet Synchron, which means we're not actually playing any Synchro monsters here. None whatsoever. So, one of the big questions that I've had asked in a lot of my Snake Eye videos is, especially now that Bonfire is out, is which variant is better, the Snake Eye or the Kashtira variant? Well, I don't really think that either is inherently better. I think they both certainly have their own pros and cons. But don't worry, I will actually say which one I personally like better. But I think for me, that is probably going to be the Synchro build. I played with this, like I said, in these games we're about to see post-Bonfire, as well as played with this variant a little bit pre-Bonfire. I think pre-Bonfire, this might have actually been the very slightly better build. But in my opinion now, I think the Synchro build is very slightly the better build. And I have to emphasize how slight that is. And I also have to emphasize that that's just like my opinion, man. No. But really, I think that the variants are both fairly comparable. And again, they both have pros and cons, right? The pro of the Kashtira variant, right, as far as like the main deck goes, obviously the Kashtira monsters themselves do offer a good bit of disruption. Also, they can bait out a lot of hand traps, Ash, Veiler, Imperm, all the stuff you don't want to hit your Snake Eye Ash. If you start your turn by specialing a Unicorn, there's a decent shot your opponent's going to like Ash Blossom or Imperm it when you go to search up the Birth. And then if they don't do it, then that's fine. Then you can just drop the Snake Eye Ash after you drop like the Birth and stuff. The Birth for the Unicorn back is really nice on this deck in particular, because if you have like Original Sin or Diabell, for example, you can potentially send the Unicorn, or even off of like Snake Eye Ash's effect or Oaks, right? You can send those cards, send with Unicorn to the graveyard to summon out your next Snake Eye monster, and then later in the turn you can use the Birth that you searched off of Unicorn to actually then bring that same Unicorn back. You could even do that as your last action, so that way you have the Unicorn up going into the opponent's turn, and then you have an extra equip potentially. Or you could do it a little bit sooner and use this as a material. This build does also play a little bit better around Nibiru for that same reason. The fact that you can Birth for a Unicorn, use it as a material for, again, Original or Diabell or a Snake Eye monster, and then after your opponent nibs you, not only do you have this deck's natural counterplay to nib of being able to use the Divine Temple to start pulling out monsters and or Flambridge, a second effect, but again, on top of that, you can potentially use the Birth to bring back the Unicorn as well, post Nibiru. The other pro of this deck as far as the extra deck goes is that you have a lot more room for a lot of really good Link monsters. In particular, here we're playing the Nightmare Unicorn in addition to Selene instead of having to pick between the two. Pit Knight Airly does actually come up a fair bit. It's not too hard for this card to be live. I'm also on Heat Soul, but I never really got a chance to try it out. I think this card is like, okay. Honestly, I think even in a future all Link Snake Eye build, I probably won't include Heat Soul. I think there are better options. Like, again, personally, I gotta be honest, I kind of think the Synchro build is a little bit better. Well, okay, so here's what the pros of the Synchro build has over the Kashtira all Link build, right? While the extra deck here for the Kashtira variant does provide a lot more variety as far as like different tools for different situations, I do think that the Synchro build has better extended plays, as in if you open a 2-card combo or like 2 engine pieces, like if you open Ash plus Diabell in the Synchro variant, I think that inboard is going to be better than the Ash plus Diabell endboard of the Kashtira variant. The main thing I don't like about the Kashtira variant is like how many slots in your main deck the Kashtira cards eat. Now you might think, well, 5 doesn't seem that bad, and indeed, for as strong as these cards are, 5 is not too many slots for an engine. But I will say that I had to give up quite a bit of like general disruption or going second tools in order to fit all the Kashtira stuff, because there wasn't really much, if really any, engine that I could see getting rid of. Maybe going down to 1 or 2 Diabell I could potentially see, but I don't think that's right either, because obviously you want to open this as often as possible for plays. I think the 5 cards, I'm pretty sure I actually know off the top of my head with the 5-card differences between my regular Snake Eye deck. We play the Kashtiras instead of Jet Synchron, as mentioned, but also 2 Droll and a 2 Triple Tack. And I'm not going to lie, I think I like the Drolls and Triple Tack more than having the option to go into the Kashtiras. Now, you could also play an all-link extra deck without the Kashtiras, and I think that might actually be better for, again, just getting those main deck slots back. But it's like, at that rate, you know, the Jet Synchron is 1 main deck slot, and on top of that, the extra deck is so wide open. Like, yeah, it is nice to have stuff like Pit Knight Airly and the Unicorn, right? But you could also just, like, find room for the 3 Synchros. It's really not that big of an ask. So, again, for me, at the end of the day, I feel like the Synchro build lets you have a little bit more flexibility as far as, like, how you're able to build the deck. But Kashtira build has the pro of having the flexibility in how your lines play out, particularly through disruption, right? So, again, pros and cons. I don't think anyone is inherently better than the other. I just happen to like the Synchro build a little bit better. You could even still rock the Barrel and Defleur in this build pretty easily, especially with Ash Blossom and the fact that we have, you know, a number of level 7s to use them with, so. Yeah, I mean, like I said, otherwise the main deck for me is pretty much exactly the same in terms of the ratio of engine we have. We're also still rocking the Subversion. I love this card. I can't see myself playing this deck without it, honestly, right now. Well, I mean, I could. I just probably wouldn't like it. I just really like having the extra search option as well as the a good flexible tool to deal with a lot of different kinds of cards there. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's too much else I need to say about a build like this. So let's break it down card by card, and then we're going to watch some gameplay. We're on 2 Effect Veiler, 3 Snake Eye Ash, 1 Snake Eye Oak, 2 Snake Eye Poplar, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, and a Joyous Spring, 1 Kashtira Fenrir, 2 Kashtira Unicorn, 3 Diabell Star the Black Witch, 2 Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Sinful Spoils of Subversion Snake Eye, 3 Bonfire, 1 Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye, 1 Pressured Planet Raitsoth, 1 Divine Temple of the Snake Eye, 1 Kashtira Birth, 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Crossout Designator, 3 Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils, as well as 3 Infinite Permanents, and that is going to do it for our main deck. For the X deck, we're on 1 Link Karibo, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Heat of the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 IP Masquerade, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, 1 Pit Knight Airly, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Celine, Queen of the Master Magicians, 1 Decode Talker Hitsu, 1 Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames, 1 Amphibious Swarmship Ambler, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, 1 Axis Code Talker, 1 World Sea Dragon Zealantis, and then finally 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. That'll do it for the list. Let's see those games now. Alright, first duel is going to end up being against Kashtira, which does pretty often end up being one of Snake Eye's tougher matchups. I think the Kashtira variant is a little bit more well-poised into this matchup, but it's very slightly so. Opponent is going to be taking the first turn here. This hand is actually looking pretty good, except for we don't like opening Flamberge, of course. Opponent's going to lead with the Raitsoth for the Kashtira Unicorn. Especially in the Unicorn, they're going to activate the effect. I'm going to take a chance and use the Veiler here. I really could have, and probably just should have waited. Because of the exact reason why we play Kashtiras in this build, right? To bait out stuff like Veiler. And if Veiler is going to be my only hand trap, then I should definitely make good use of it. However, this did not only end up being the Kashtira matchup, but they also had Shifter, which made my Veiler uniquely good here, but I don't think that means it was right to activate it when I did, right? That's something that I talk about a lot, that I think this is actually a really, really good example of. It's like, you know, people might see this end board and be like, oh yeah, so Valor, that was the right time to Valor, right? No, I don't think it was, even though the Valor did end up making their turn a lot less good, as opposed to, you know, ending on a Rise Heart plus era, right? Because again, it would have been so easy for my opponent to just normal summon Snake Eye Ash and then just wreck me with a Snake Eye combo. This is a very much a case of do as I say, not as I do. Alright, thankfully, again, we only have the one era to deal with here. We're going to get the Oak here. Now, remember, we are under Shifter. Thankfully, we have the Rate Soth here, so we're going to be able to do at least some amount of things under the Shifter here. Opponent's going to Ghost Warner my Unicorn before I even really have a chance to activate the effect, which is totally fine. Well, they have to do it with Ghost Warner then, right, because it's specials. So, I'm still going to normal summon Snake Eye Ash, and I'm still going to add and then summon Poplar. Because I already have Original Sin in hand, that means that I'm not really concerned about saving that for follow-up, because I'll have plays. And most importantly, I can Subversion the Era, and that way they'll get into their body during their next standby phase. They are going to follow up by summoning the Oak, and then, especially the Oak, and then normally the Mourner, going for their Baron de Fleur. Which is like fine, whatever. They can Baron my Unicorn, they can battle over my Snake Eye Ash again. Well, no, we're not under Shifter anymore because now it's our opponent's turn again. So that stuff actually goes to the graveyard, which is actually going to pretty hugely matter here. I'm actually going to lead with the Original Sin on my Rate Soth. I don't need it for anything. Opponent is going to use the Baron Omni Negate. That is beautiful. It's exactly what I wanted to see because I still have that Snake Eye Oak in hand. And remember, Snake Eye Ash went to the graveyard because Shifter was no longer up. So I can Oak, bring back Ash. Although, to be fair, even if it was banished, Oak can still summon from the banish pile because this card is broken. So... yeah, no, from there I'm going to Ash for Poplar. Poplar's going to grab the Divine Temple. We can use Divine Temple to set up another Ash in the small trap zone. Get a Link off the Poplar for Link Rebo. Mostly just going to build now towards my, I guess, inboard, so to speak, or like finishing them off or whatever. I'm going to pull out the Flamberge from hand because the other one is in the graveyard, right? We get to push back the Baron de Fleur. Shouldn't be too much more to lethal here. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and make the Dark. Dark F is going to bring back their D-Shifter. That's right, we get to bring back their D-Shifter. And then from here, I'm pretty sure we're just going to Selene into access code for lethal. Yeah, looks like that is the case there. So, again, I want to say, like I emphasized before, I want to really emphasize again that, there's a phrase for it. Not post-results thinking. What is the, but anyway, the main point I'm getting at here is that when you're evaluating whether a play was results-oriented thinking, that was it, I thought of it. When you're evaluating a play, you want to evaluate it from the perspective of someone who is in that position where they don't know exactly what their opponent's on and what they're going to do, as opposed to what actually ended up happening. So to say that my Valor on the Unicorn was correct here is results-oriented thinking. I think that in the long run, it was not correct. I should have waited. If I had waited, I probably would have just ended up using it on the Fenrir, right? Because they would have probably added Theosis off of Unicorn and then Theosis for Fenrir. Fenrir tried to add Rise Heart. I can Valor the Fenrir. I do lose a card from the Unicorn, but then it's the same result. They end up going into Era and then passing anyway. So, yeah, no, it was definitely correct for me to... but then again, they did have the Shifter, so it's like... but I think without the knowledge that they were on Kashtira for sure... we definitely could have very easily gotten Snake Eye Ash, right? They could have just normal summon Snake Eye Ash if we Valored that Unicorn. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting thing to think about. But we do still have more games to watch. Let's go into the next one. Okay, so now we're going to face off against Sky Striker. Funnily enough, both the last opponent and this one are playing Sinful Spoils of Subversion Snake Eye without any other, like, Sinful Spoils or Snake Eye cards. Like, no package, just playing that as a one-off spell. But it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's a really strong effect, right? To be able to remove a monster in that way. Plus, it makes a lot of sense in particular in Sky Striker, which cares about normal spells. So, alright, here I'm going to pitch the Snake Eye Ash for the Diabell. That way I can bring it back with Oak. Opponent's going to Maxi me. We do have the Call By for the C, but they're going to have a Ghost Spell for the Called By. So, that means that Maxi is ultimately going to end up resolving. And as a result, after I bring back this Snake Eye Ash, I'm not going to be doing much more playing here. I'm going to use the Snake Eye Ash to add another copy of itself for follow-up plays, and then just pass it over to my opponent. I'm like, That's the thing about this deck. It doesn't really have plays under Maxi, so that is probably another factor as to why this doesn't feel like it's as strong in Master Duel as it is in TCG, OCG. Anyway, opponent's going to engage for Ray, battle over my Ash, go to Hayate. Hayate not only battles over Oak, but puts battle drones in the yard. Let's see, opponent will Kagari here for the engage back. Oh, but I remember this game now. Yeah, they're going to get the engage back, but then I think they just go for Shizuku and then pass. Like, they don't even activate engage because they're trying to add another copy of engage off of Shizuku. I think that's insanely greedy. Like, I'm not a Sky Striker. Oh, look, they actually don't even add it. They add Widow, or they add Shark Cannon. So I have no idea why my opponent didn't activate engage. I thought it was to get another copy of engage, but no, they just added Shark Cannon anyway. So it's like, why not add like a Widow Anchor to set up here? Or what you could have done is you could have engaged for multi-roll, then end phase Shizuku Shark Cannon. You could do the Shizuku Shuffle, and then you could use the multi-roll to set the same Shark Cannon. I'm pretty sure that works. Yeah, I don't know why my opponent didn't use engage there. It's a little weird, but anyway, they're going to imperm my Unicorn, which is obviously so fine because we did have that Snake Eye Ash that we got off the follow-up plays as well. To be fair, we would... Actually, did we use the... No, okay, so the Ash Blossom under the original Sin. Okay. So we cannot use the Graveyard Effect, which is fine here. We're just going to use the Poplar to set itself back up. Snake Eye Ash F-Sec itself and Poplar to bring out the Flamberge from deck. Gonna link off my Elite Karibo and the Flamberge for... Is this Dark? No, it's Hita. Hita, we're going to take their... Oh, yeah, we don't have to take their Ray because we pushed the Shizuku into the back row, right? Normally, I would Dark to bring back Ray and then answer the Shizuku. That way their Ray can't come back. But if you push the Shizuku into the Spell Trap Zone, you're not sending it to the graveyard by any means. So that means Ray can't come back. And then, yeah, our opponent clearly saw that we were about to go for the... good old access code OTK line to finish off the duel there. Still got a couple more games to see. Let us go into the next one. This opponent's on a really interesting deck. It's Dark World, but no dangers. No danger, just Dark World. They are teching Shavara, a single copy of it, the new Unchained card. Maybe there was some other Unchained stuff I didn't see there, but I only saw one Shavara, so I don't think it's a dedicated, like, Dark World Unchained deck. But I thought it was really interesting that there were no danger cards in my opponent's deck. None whatsoever. Pretty neat, actually. So, anyway, I'm going to summon the Poplar here, and then, yet again, we're going to hit with the C. Yet again, we do end up having the Called By for it. And this time, our opponent does not end up having Disruption for that. So, we're looking pretty good here. I mean, this hand is actually, believe it or not, like, I don't think this hand is really that great. I feel like this is a case of our cup runneth over when it comes to engine. Like, I would have much rather seen some, like, instead of the bonfire and the... I mean, obviously the Sinful Spoils of Subversion Snake Eye is not that great to open turn one. I'm not even going to really acknowledge this because I'm mostly talking about having, like... I mean, yeah, like, opening Diabell plus all this other stuff is fine, but... Well, here's the thing, too, is, like, I think this is one of those games where I was trying to figure out, like, what can I really do with this extra Diabell in this build, right? And this is probably just a case of me not knowing this particular variant well enough, but I don't know, I'm like, maybe I can, like, it's only one extra material here. I can't even get Jet Synchron to, like, bring it back. You know what I mean? Even for Link Summoning, I can't, like, Jet Synchron and then bring it back by pitching a card for, like, further linking. I don't know, maybe for hands like this, Silvara, actually the trap card ends up being fine to run? I don't know, it's just like... Oh, wait, no, I do end up extending here, that's right, I remember this, because I can Diabell... Oh, never mind, disregard everything I just said, because this is actually where I make use of Pit Knight Airly. Although I don't know if I'm really using Airly correctly here. I'm going to put it in the zone under Ambloy and have it point to the Flamberge. That way I can save the Flamberge pulling IP out of the Spell Trap Zone for my opponent's turn and then use it as a Disrupt. But I think you're actually supposed to put... I think what I was supposed to do is I think I was supposed to Link summon Airly earlier, put it over here, And then that way I can go into, like, I can draw phase IP and then go into Apo. Well, but see, that's the thing I don't really, it's like, I feel like Apo plus Airly is kind of like redundant, right? Unless, I guess, you could negate a monster effect like in hand on the, or on the graveyard and then still negate another one on the field, but... I don't know. Anyway, my opponent's not really doing anything yet that makes me really feel like I need to do this, but when Muckraker comes down, I'm like, yeah, this seems like a fine opportunity to use Airly, so I'm just going to activate Flamber and Shear, which will let me use the Airly effect to negate the Muckraker. That'll stop them from discarding as well as bringing something back. Muckraker does discard as part of the effect, not a cost, so that does trigger Dark World effects. They have the Dark World Ascension. I'm going to fire off the IP in response. That way I can IP and they won't just negate it with Fusion Grapha. So I'm going to go for a 4-mat Apo here. I thought the Fusion Grapha had 3k attack, but I think it's actually 3,500. So, I mean, I probably would have made 4-mat Apo anyway. Maybe I would have left Ambluale. I don't know. So they're going to Grapha target my field spell. I kind of don't know why, because I think if they would have targeted Appaloosa, I would have activated Appaloosa to negate, and they could have chained it Fusion Grapha. Because the Divine Temple doesn't do anything here. The callback against my Flamber is definitely the most brutal part here, though, like, for sure. Alright, looks like they're using Gates. Ascension, they get to add that back and then discard a Dark World monster. That's going to end up being Snow. Snow is going to try to add something. I'm going to use Appaloosa for sure here. Opponent's going to chain the Grapha effect. That will change the Appaloosa effect into discard a card. And the Snow will get to add anyway. They're going to add a Rainbow. Moving to battle, they do get to battle over my Appaloosa. Which actually didn't lose attack points because that's part of the resolution of the effect. But alas, like I said, well, actually, is it? No, because that's 3,300, right? No, it is 32, so it would have been tied. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Top decking Poplar here, but that's not going to really do too much in this situation. In fact, it's not really going to do anything. Rainbow is going to summon itself back. That's fine, I don't care. We do have the original Sin, but I do also have a face-down card to play around. So I'm going to need to put my Poplar back with the original Sin, so that way I have something to search off of the Snake Eye Ash. Top decking Unicorn here is not bad. I'm going to lead with Special Unicorn, add Birth, and then activate the Birth. I'm going to follow up with Normal Summon Snake Eye Ash. Effect to add the Poplar that we put back. Now we can special the Poplar that we added. And then activate the effect to add Sinful Spoils of Subversion. But we've already tried to activate it this turn, so we can't use it again. Dark World Ascension activating yet again here in response to Link Rainbow. But this time, I was like, what are they making? Like, what is this? It's colorless Chaos King of Dark World, which once Fusion Summon destroys all cards I control. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, so this is definitely a bit of a new one to me, but although, to be fair, it wasn't this the monster that was, like, teased forever ago in, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, right? Like in the anime, because in the anime, Braun, Mad King of the Dark World, and all the Dark World monsters are, like, actual characters. And Braun was trying to summon Chaos, colorless Chaos King of Dark World, but he never actually successfully summoned it. He only mentioned it by name. So we had like all these years not knowing what color this actually did or was, but now we have it. So yeah, there we go. Not a W on my part, but again, I wanted to feature our opponent, who was on a very cool Dark World deck without dangers, which I think is really neat. Got one more game to watch before we end off. Let's take a look at that. And our final opponent is going to be on Sword Soul. Good old Sword Soul. Alright, I don't remember if I go first or second here. Let's take a look. We are going second. Oh, wait, I remember this duel now. Yep. Going second. Love it. Love to see hands like this. Which is, again, why I'm not, like, as keen on the Kashtira stuff. Like, especially going second. Like, I don't know. I just like opening stuff like Droll and Triple Attack going second more than the Kashtira cards. I mean, not that the Kashtira cards are bad going second by any means. They can definitely still bait out disruption that's on the opponent's board, but yeah. Anyway, our Maxi is going to get called by it here. Our opponent's going to successfully summon the Long Yon. Well, I mean, Maxi wouldn't have negated that, to be fair. We just gotten draws. I will definitely Ash Blossom this Ashuna. They do have to go into this before they can make their 10, because they need a non-effect monster on the field. Looks like they are going to Synchro for 10, of course, and rather than Barrel into Floor, they go for a Qixing Longyan, which I respect. I think this card is vastly overlooked in Sword Soul. A lot of people just make Baron as their 10, but this card is really good. And honestly, it's not too difficult for that card to really mess me up, especially in a situation like this. We are going to get Maxied, however, thanks to Callby, that is going to get negated. But yeah, with Poplar, I'm just going to push back that Qixing Longyan. Because here's the thing, right? If I try to summon Diabell, or go for Original Sin, they can banish my Snake Eye Ash when it gets summoned. If I activate Divine Temple, they can banish that upon activation. So I really had to deal with Qixing Longyan before doing anything else here. Again, especially in this matchup, card is a lot better than it might seem. But in general, I think this card is also a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for, right? So, alright, yeah, now I can, I'm going to set up Diabell and Original Sin, and that's it. They're not even going to try from there on out. So that is going to do it for this duel, and that's going to also do it for this video. So thank you everybody so very much for watching. Let's go ahead and move now to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for support there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.